Canada feeling good about this one as they pick up their first result against Mexico. You have to go back to 2008. This one, a 1-1 draw in World Cup qualifying. Andy Petrillo alongside Ian Hume, Christian Jack. When you look at what they were able to accomplish here, you know, in the first window as well in September, we were wondering if they would even get a point off the United States. They did end up getting that. This obviously a bigger task here, KJ. They get a point off Mexico in Mexico. What does this mean?
Well, I was watching the game at the end, and I already knew that Canada, and I talk about Canada, the squad, the players, the fans now, as a country, they started to believe already that they can make it to the World Cup in 2022. That's the kind of performance that will make other people believe that they can do it. Now Mexico will think Canada can make it. Now the world in Europe will wake up. Some of the people will look at this result and go, wow. Okay, it's one thing. Now, they played the two most difficult games on paper. I understand going to Panama and I understand going to El Salvador and Honduras are very different and they're difficult. But on paper, the two best teams in this region are the United States and Mexico. And I don't think it's close, by the way. They're the two best teams. And they've been to both and drawn 1-1. And they are enormous points. One, because of obviously the very difficult opponents, but the most important thing, Hume, is the outcome. It went with the performance. The performance deserved it. It wasn't something they got away with. They actually went there, played their way, and they got the point.
Well, that's it. Like, you look at the results, and right away you'll say, oh, wow, Canada got a result there. If you've watched the games, Canada should have got 6 points. Or could have got 6 points. Like tonight, there was every chance. On another day, Canada scored 2 or 3 in the first half. So the US game, same thing. Should have got a result. Should have got the 3 points. These are things that are from the inside, as a fan, as working here in studio, as a player in the squad. These are things that make such a difference. There's such a belief. And you look at this huddle here, this is it. They believe that they've achieved something special tonight. Could have been more, but now they have a chance to go against Sunday, and it's an incredible group to be a part of and watching.
Again, reinforcing here, achieving something special to your point. So their record heading into this game against Mexico, 5-22-8. That's now 5-22-9. They scored their first goal against Mexico in Azteca Stadium since November 1980. Jerry Gray's 1-1 equalizer in World Cup qualifying. I was 7 months old. You were 2 years old. Little wee Hume wasn't even born yet in 1980, the last time Canada scored a goal against Mexico in Mexico. That's why we emphasize just how special this is.
Yeah, like, listen, everyone tells us you can't do it. You can't beat Mexico in Mexico. You can't get a result. Why? This is the thing. This is the best part about this group is when people are stacking up the odds against them, we're sitting here watching, and I can only imagine what it feels like in the group. But sitting watching, it's like, why? Why can't they go and beat them? Why can't they go and get a result against the US, Mexico's, Costa Rica's in the Gold Cup and all that when, oh, you probably won't get a result because you got a weaker team? Why? Right now, there's such a belief in Canadian soccer on a whole that going into every game and they expect to get something.
And I think that's what helps them play these teams early in the competition, because the belief is already there, but it's not matched by the expectations yet. Externally. Internally, of course, but externally around the world, nobody's expecting Canada to make it. Now more people are starting to get on the bandwagon and believe. But they played these games earlier, so they almost feel like they can play that David versus Goliath card, which I think really fuels this squad. Now, we're going to be talking here in the next few international windows about very different. They're going to be going into games as early as next week. We're going to be there at BMO Field in Toronto, games people now expect them to win. That's a different kind of expectation. These are different kind of games. But for now, for tonight, to go out there and perform, you ran the numbers for head-to-head matchup, Andy. Think about it, you know, in Mexico City, that Mexico team have played 73 World Cup qualifiers in that city since 1934 and won 63 of them. Only 10 teams have ever gone into that. He's been one of them who tried to go in there and didn't. That's how hard it. People know what it's like. Only 10 teams have gone into that city and left with either a point or a win, 2 wins only. In 87 years. That's a remarkable achievement of what Canada's accomplished tonight. And the most important factor is it wasn't 10 men behind the ball, sit deep, beat them on a counter. counter, get lucky here and there. Yeah, you're right, you look. Yeah, defensively they had some issues in the second half, but they played the game they wanted to play. They went at them and they took it at them, and they played their own identity that will serve them better for the next game and when they bring Mexico to Edmonton in a month, because they know we need to play that way at home as well to be able to go out and get points against a team like that.
Yeah, they didn't just wait for an opportunity. They were creating them. Let's take a look at some of those chances, which is why we make the comment that they could have been up a few goals in this one.
Yeah, like just the belief and the pace that they attack in these games. And the ball goes wide, and like you see Tajon Buchanan, he's fearless. After the last time he played Mexico, he's fearless. He believes that he's going to beat anybody one-on-one. And when you add on Alphonso Davies and Jonathan David and Kyle Aaron when he's back and Richie Larea, these guys play with such a belief and an energy that they're going to scare any team in Concacaf. Any team. Doesn't matter who you are. And I think it's like that. I say he should have scored. He could have scored there.
You might have scored that, Hugh.
I don't know.
I'll say it for you.
I'd have to get on the field to do that. No, but he had a chance there. And I just think the performance after conceding in the first half, and in all honesty, it was one of the best performances I've seen in a half from this Canadian squad because of the circumstances and where they were.
I thought for the first half they were absolutely tremendous. We showed it at half-time, the amount of chances they created. This is explosiveness at its best for Tajon Buchanan, how confident he is. The run is great. The ball is absolutely magnificent. It's a world-class delivery, and I don't think it was so good it surprised Alphonso Davies, who's used to getting those balls in from the likes of Kimmich, by the way. So that's how surprised he was. And again, you can just see pace. You can't teach it, right? You either got it or you haven't, and Mexico aren't used to playing against that kind of pace. That was how it dictated in the first half. You know, dead ball situations, I still think that's a real threat for Canada. It's a really good opportunity. Vittoria, by the way, was immense on the night. We're going to get to him a little bit later, but I thought it was very good performance. Second half, look, the chances weren't there as much. We know why. You know, Herdman really stuck to his 11 for longer than he's stuck to them in a World Cup qualifier. He didn't make any changes until after the 70th minute because I think he wanted the continuity, but they got tired. And I'll say this too, you know, it's something to be said about playing well and not winning, but what about when you don't play well and you don't lose? You know, and that's a sign for this Canada team that I think that when they don't play well, they still manage to get something on the board. And here we are, Yumi, again, talking for the third time in 4 games of them going down a goal and coming back and getting a 1-1 draw. Yeah, and like going down a goal at the Azteca, it's expected. Like, and that's the worst part about it. It's expected 95% of the time. Yep. Unless you're a bigger nation teams coming fold, down. Right? Yeah, and teams fold and end up losing 2, 3, 4, 5 because the fans get behind them. But, like we said, that end of that the last 20 minutes of that first half, 25 minutes, they were the best team by a mile. It wasn't even marginal. They were the better team by a mile. They had 3, 4, 5 great chances that they could have scored. And then going into the second half, I understand about John Herdman not making changes because of what's going on. If they make one change and that one player isn't at it, the game's done. Because they will exploit it. So holding on as long as he did, making 3 at the same time, I thought might have been a bit risky, but not one looked out of place. No, he did well.
I thought Fraser came on. I thought he was brilliant. I thought he came on and he really took over for Marc-Anthony Kaye, and he really put his foot into the game.
Ochoa, one of the best acrobatic goalkeepers in the game. He was forced to make some incredible saves in that one, but Jonathan Osorio managed to beat him, KJ. He found the back of the net, scored for Canada in the Gold Cup this past summer, gets another one here.
Yeah, and, you know, this is the Mexico goal, I think, first of all. Let's talk about that first. You know, this is just a crossfield ball where they get the overlap situation that killed them a little bit. And, you know, Buchanan kind of tucked in on that side. And, you know, and at that point, I thought, OK, maybe Mexico deserved it at that moment. But I would say, you know, for you, as you talk about, maybe we can roll in the Osorio goal in a second.
I was laughing at the jalapeno pepper. It's adorable.
It's fine. It's actually, I think he got a lot of airtime tonight, to be honest. Watch this Osorio run here as he plays the 1-2. This run here pulls them back and allows that space for Alphonso Davies to receive the ball. And that's an exceptional pass from Alphonso Davies with his head up, and he sees Osorio. And that's what Osorio's got better at ever since the Concacaf, you know, run in 2018. He arrives late in the box. He understands he can make those runs. You know, he told me, you know, in my chat with him on Beyond the Pitch podcast I had with him, he understands, and this is his quote, not mine, he understands he has physical limitations. He understands he doesn't strike the ball as better than some, but he understands better than most the reading of the game and the ability to find space. And, you know, and he is the true space invader for this team very often.
He's been the same way since he broke into the squad. When he broke in around 19, 20, and his spatial awareness, even like especially when he's on the outskirts of the squad and he's playing five-a-sides and whatever in training, his spatial awareness was as good as anybody in and around.
Agree.
He'll, like you said, he'll tell you his athleticism isn't as much as everybody else, his strength and striking isn't as much as it, but his spatial awareness gets him past a lot of that. So all he needs is little pockets like that. His first touch is as good as anybody's, gets him out of trouble, right into his stride, and he doesn't even have to break stride to hit it with his left foot, even though he's right-footed. It's not even contemplating what to do. So that first touch made it, but he's been like that all the time, and especially with TFC, he excels at TFC getting to those gaps, and he's been a mainstay for years, and he will be for years to come.
Big goal for him, big goal for Canada, just heading into that half to preserve this 1-1 draw. Let's hear from the Canadian goal scorer.
Jonathan, pretty momentous night for the Canadian national team and the sport in this country. What can you say about that performance?
This team just keeps growing. We keep growing, and this was our biggest test yet, and we faced it. We faced it, I think, with flying colors. But we wanted to win that game. I think we're going to take the point, but we know that, we could have played better in the second half, and we felt that, we should have took 3 points from today. Aside from that, the positive, we take a point in a hard place, and we keep going. So this team is growing, and I love playing here.
I was going to say, you've made a bit of a habit of scoring in this venue and producing your best performances. What is it about this place that inspires you?
It's a coliseum of football. It's history here. You can ask your man Christian Jack about how I feel about the history of football, and those things are special to me. So this is a very special goal for me and for Canada, and it's just another step in the right direction, but we know we still got a lot of work to do.
You recovered from going behind once again. I know we've talked about it a lot now, but what can you say about the mentality of this group?
Yeah, we have a lot of character on this team. A lot of character. I don't know how else to say this, but we have a lot of balls. I'm sorry for my language, but we have a lot of balls on this team. Going down in this tough environment against a tough team, and knowing that we could come back. And after the goal, I saw the guys' faces, and we were fine. Nobody was panicking. Everybody was good. Everybody's lifting each other, and that's what really good teams do. And I think we showed today that we're a really good team.
Thank you, Jonathan. Well played tonight.
Oso has just given KJ his new nickname. You are now known as the Historian. Canada, 2 more games to go in this one. Sunday, join us Thanksgiving Sunday. Canada taking on Jamaica before coming back home October 13th to face Panama. That's at BMO Field. Those games right here. We've got more coming up. They'll be missing some players, though, in that Jamaica game. We do have to talk about the yellow cards, and we're also going to hear from head coach John Herdman next. Stay with us.
Where to next is wherever you want it to be. At Toyota, we know that where you're going next is not bound by limits, by weather, by bad roads. We know that where you're going next is wherever your imagination and our vehicles can take you. Toyota, find your next.
For life's transitions, working from home, and even small businesses, life gets better when you have space. With no long-term contracts or leases, get the size you need. First 4 weeks free. Access Storage. Proud partner of Canada Soccer's men's national team.
And
All 8 teams were in action tonight. The United States defeating Jamaica 2-0. It has just not been a good campaign for Jamaica. Ricardo Pepi, the young 18-year-old, getting both goals for the U.S. No score in Honduras, Costa Rica. That ends in a 0-0 draw. El Salvador currently up 1-0 over Panama. They're in about the 82nd minute. El Salvador doing Canada a solid right now as they drew Mexico 1-1. John Herdman with our Oliver Platt.
John, that was a pretty special performance. Can you put into words how you're feeling about your team right now?
Yeah, I think a little bit disappointed, you know. I just spoke to them in the huddle at the end, and we wanted to win here and be that first team that took 3 points. There's been a team before us that drew in Azteca, so disappointed in many ways, but, you know, the effort, the performance was there from the players. And Mexico, as you know, are a top team. So, yeah, I think we're happy. But again, it could have been better.
I don't think many people will be complaining about a point, but when you see Alfonso streaking away at the end there, did you think there could be more?
Yeah, I mean, that was a moment. We suffered a little bit in that second half, but I felt we were in control of their attacks. It was set pieces that were causing us problems. And we knew we could be a transitional threat, just changing Davies into a more central position. But look, at the end of the day, we've had a great experience here. The boys will remember this for the rest of their lives, and we wanted 3 points. We took 1. Hopefully it'll be enough.
It seemed like a lot of the chances for both sides were coming from the wide areas. Was it a case of maybe knowing Corona and Gallardo might have 1 or 2, but you could go the other way as well?
Well, we just knew it was going to be an open game, Ollie. You know, and I said that to the boys. We've got to dare to lose to win. And we've shown we can score against any team. We've shown we can come back. So we weren't frightened of conceding, and that allowed us to open up a bit. And we knew if we opened up, they'd open up. And we're welcoming a more open game. I think the fans enjoy it as well. So, yeah, I'm happy, but I'd rather have had 3 points.
A quick turnaround now, obviously, but how much is this going to energise the group for Jamaica?
Well, we either get too high, and I said that to the staff prior. You know, we got to be careful. If we got beat, we'll be too low. If we get a good result, we'll be too high. We just got to get into the consistency now, on task. I've got a different group of guys already with their minds on this game. Some of the leaders have already planned, you know, the approach to this next game. So they're going to get hold of this group when they get back to the hotel and make sure they're dialed in. 2 days' time, 35 degrees heat in Kingston. What a life. It's brilliant.
Thank you, John. I think we'll remember this one for a while. Well done.
Listen, I'm just happy Herdman's voice made it to the end of that interview with our Oliver Platt. But, you know, obviously he is happy. But, Humi, kind of going to your point now where there's this belief that they can get points even against, you know, bigger opponents. He starts off by saying they were disappointed. Were you surprised by that answer?
Not at all. And getting a result in the Azteca, it's massive in itself. But you think about how that sets them up for playing in Honduras, playing in El Salvador, playing in Panama, Costa Rica. That is far more hostile on a grander scheme than what you will get in San Pedro Sula or Cuscatlan or anything like that. So getting a result there and being upset, that just shows you everything we've spoke about for the last 6 months, is how far this program and this team and this group of guys have come. There's an expectation level, not a hope. It's an expectation now. Going against the best team in Concacaf and being disappointed, come on.
Positive reference points, right? That's what it is. It's a positive reference points going forward. You can sense the disappointment. You know, quick story, Marc-Anthony Kaye, for me, was one of the first players in this entire squad that publicly went out there and said, we're going to make it to the World Cup. Way before they even got to this level, when they were playing the likes of, no disrespect, but they were playing Suriname and Aruba and Cayman Islands. Marc-Anthony Kaye told me that when they played Mexico at the Gold Cup and Herrera scored the 99th minute winner and they all gathered around, usually players at that point are crushed. And he looked at the eyes of those players and he said, even in defeat, we've won something tonight. And he told me that night, he said he went up to John Herdman on the pitch and said, we will qualify for Qatar 2022. That moment he knew. At that moment. It's said before, and at that moment he was allowed to say it, but then he knew. And tonight, players who believed it and thought it, now will even more be affirmed in belief in their minds that moments like that, not only we can get them to World Cup 2022, but can do things at that World Cup. It continues to keep building. Look, they're not there yet. It's a long way to go. But tonight is a remarkable achievement considering the performance they played.
Great message as well from the leader, which echoes, Bev Priestman again with the Canadian women at the Olympics saying she didn't want the USA to be their final, right? They still had a job to do. You just heard Herdman say, we don't want Mexico to kind of be our final in this window. It's great, but we have to get ready for Jamaica. They'll be missing some players. We'll talk about that as we continue our coverage.
Welcome to Here. Better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands. Click or call to bundle today.
Hit it on and hit it in. Malcolm Shaw has scored for Atletico. Another game, another goal.
For life's transitions, working from home, and even small businesses, life gets better when you have space. With no long-term contracts or leases, get the size you need. First 4 weeks free. Access Storage. Proud partner of Canada Soccer's men's national team.
The game tonight between Mexico and Canada ends in a 1-1 draw. The Canadians getting their first result against the Mexican side since 2008. United States now top the standings here. Mexico, Canada rounding out the top three. And currently Panama sitting in that fourth place. That game ongoing against El Salvador. El Salvador with the 1-0 lead. And you can see there Costa Rica, Honduras, and Jamaica yet to pick up wins. Jamaica, the next opponent for the Canadians. That'll go on Sunday. We know the historian, that Canada's going to be missing 3 players due to yellow card accumulation. So you have Buchanan, Larea, Vittoria. How does that affect the way Herdman puts out a starting 11 for Sunday?
Great time to pick up yellow cards, in my opinion, because Larea wouldn't have played anyway, because if he got a yellow, it's more important to play against Panama. The other players, I think, would have been rested anyway. The boys touched about it in commentary, just a ludicrous rule of how you get suspended after 2 yellow cards anyway, so let's take advantage of it. That was a bit naughty from Corona there, obviously kicking out. Love the fact that Canadian players get involved in this. It's just like that the Gold Cup, though. So, yeah, for me, to answer your question, Andy, I expect significant rotation on Sunday. The next game of real true importance, of course, will be spoken about as Jamaica. Panama is an enormous match. It's a game they really have to win that game. They need to win the games at home. Now they've got an away point here. I've said it all along. Average 1 point away from home, average 2 points at home. You will get to Qatar throughout this whole process, in my opinion. So for me, I expect a lot of rotation. Daniil Henry will play. I think Johnston came off. I think he'll end up playing. Eustachio may not play because he's got a yellow now as well. There's a lot of players I expect to rotate. I don't think Alphonso Davies will play, and I don't think Jonathan David will play, but I might be wrong. I wouldn't be surprised to see 7 or 8 changes.
Yeah, I understand if John does make that amount of changes, I'd understand it completely. I think making wholesale changes completely across the board against Jamaica, as poorly as they've started, they're still Jamaica, and you don't know what you're going to get sometimes. They have some good players there. They can still cause problems, especially on their own patch. So making too many could come back. But the thing we spoke about so many times is how deep this squad is with first-team players. Mm-hmm. Everyone that's there is playing for their club. Yep. Everyone that's there is expecting to be a part of the starting 11. We have our tiers of players with your Alphonso, your Jonathan David, Eustachio, Stephen Vittoria. Their spots are pretty much cemented there. But everyone else, anybody is interchangeable and not losing a standard that they've set. Everyone that's played has set a standard. So making the changes, I wouldn't make 8, 9, 10, but I can understand making 4 or 5.
It's no slight on Jamaica, by the way. For me, it's about Panama. And remember what we went through with Alphonso Davies? He played the first 2 games, and then he wasn't available. He has to play in that game at BMO Field next week. And we all know clubs have a lot of power here. It's a FIFA window, but clubs have a lot of power. And if I'm running Bayern Munich, I'd be saying he's not playing in day 1, day 4, and day 7. So figure it out. And I think that would be the best thing for them to do.
I know this will probably deserve a lot more attention than we're about to give it, but I still want to get it in because, once again, this game was paused due to the homophobic chant by the Mexican fans. At what point, KJ, I mean, do you think points will start being deducted now before they just keep pausing games, which don't really seem to be doing much? A reminder, fans were not supposed to be in the stands tonight.
Quite possible. Here's what has to happen next. Fans were supposed to be taken out of that stand tonight, of the game, but it was suspended. It was a second suspended sentence, so based on the future. So what will happen now is that will happen. So there was supposed to be 2 games in a row where the fans were taken out. This was supposed to be the second one. There will be another game during this World Cup qualifying. It has to be now because they were suspended based on future things happening, and it might be more. It might be compounded by the fact that what we saw the scenes tonight. So to answer your question, there will be another game played, in my opinion, during the World Cup qualifiers with no fans there because that's what FIFA did and that's what happened.
Yeah, so once again, I mean, obviously it's disappointing to see, but you just wonder what kind of sanctions they'll take that'll actually make a mark and really kind of stop this, right? So there are your full-time stats brought to you by Toyota. The Canadians getting a result against the Giants of Concacaf. 1-1 your final here. Osorio, the goal scorer for Canada. Next up for them, Jamaica on Sunday. On behalf of KJ, Ian Hume, Gareth Wheeler, Terry Dunfield, I'm Annie Petrillo. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.